baby.
It is 6:15 in the morning, and we've got up a bit earlier today to try and beat the rush of boat queue, which was a bit insane yesterday, and we don't want to miss the order. So we're up earlier, and we're going to go wander and get a boat and watch some films.
So today we kick things off with Justin Kurzel's The Order, which is a film I didn't really know what to expect from. I like to tell people I'm a big fan of Justin Kurzel's work, and then I remember that Assassin's Creed was a film. This one looked like it had a lot going for it, solid cast. I came out of it satisfied enough, but there really wasn't as much kind of risk-taking and bold filmmaking on display here as I would have liked to have seen from Justin Kurzel, right? It's sort of built with all of the pieces in the right place, but it feels a lot to me like a kind of stitching of different procedural elements, thriller elements, and performance elements that we've seen done elsewhere, which sort of gets in the way of its effectiveness for me. It was strong enough, but just nothing particularly wowing to me, and I don't think it's able to say a huge amount with that pretty straightforward, pretty straight-laced thriller style. And Jude Law seemed to be doing his best Gene Hackman, which just made me want to watch a Gene Hackman film. I should just watch a Gene Hackman film as soon as I get back from Venice, shouldn't I? But today's screenings are split up with a big chunk of time in the middle, so we've come back to the Airbnb. We're gonna head back out across the water to the Lido for a evening screening of The Brutalist today, which I'm incredibly excited for. I don't know a huge amount about other than all of the talent involved, but we'll see how that one goes. I'll check back in with you on that one, probably at night time, which is, I suppose, a change of scenery for, it's not going to look any different, it's still the same Airbnb, I'm not just going to go into a random person's house. But it has almost happened.
We are off to see The Brutalist by the one and only Brady Corbet. Just 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully it justifies the runtime. But yeah, we're all quite excited for this one, aren't we? Yeah.
We are. The video's gonna be lovely. Yeah. Cheers. Oh yes, this is so much fun.
Okay, so The Brutalist. Listen, I know I promised a late night review because we were going to be back late, but it turns out we were back very late. All I wanted to do at that time was sleep, but has given me time to think on the film, and I still can't put most of my thoughts into comprehensive words for you on camera because honestly, it was kind of fucking incredible. Like, it was astonishing. I think that was one of my favourite festival watch experiences I've ever had. Honestly, like the first 5 to 10 minutes of this thing were some of the most staggering filmmaking I've seen on a screen in a cinema ever, right? And then it just decides to carry that on for about 3 hours. I think it can be quite easy to get swept up in like festival season hyperbole when it comes to good films, but it's kind of impossible not to with this one. It was monumental. What the hell? I'm genuinely not sure how anything's going to top that one at the festival. But tomorrow's films, I don't have too much faith in them going near The Brutalist. We're kicking things off with Wolves, new John Watts one. I think it looks terrible, going to watch it anyway. And then we're going to watch I'm Still Here, which is a film I know nothing about. One of the blind festival watches for me, so that should be fun.
Morning again. It's 6 a.m. today, so a little bit earlier again. We're trying to get used to being up early, but today we're up this early for a film that looks like shit. Wish us luck.
So, Wolves, right? We're going to keep this one quick. We're going to talk about this quickly as I go for a walk, because honestly, I don't have a huge amount to say about this one. Didn't have high expectations, and still just an embarrassing film. Worst of the festival, I think.
Quite easily.
Thought it was incredibly stylish and funny, and was none of that. It was completely flat, and I think rides almost entirely off of the idea that casting George Clooney and Brad Pitt was enough. A film I'll never watch again, and a film which I'm annoyed I got up for. Wolves. In other great Venice news though, I just walked past a restaurant that was just playing the Ainda song from Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring. Kind of tempted to just go back and vibe there. I'm Still Here ended up being like truly one of the most devastating films I've seen in a long time. Like I truly ugly cried throughout pretty much the entire final act of this thing. It was completely gut-wrenching. I didn't know anything about it going in, and it ended up being about a husband, a dad of a family who is forcibly kidnapped and then is essentially missing for decades. He was kidnapped for questioning by the Brazilian government / militia. It taps into all of the family side of things, what they do without him, and then it starts to dip into Alzheimer's territory. I mean, it really is just like, how do you make Stu cry 101 the film? They succeeded. It was honestly, it was fantastic. There's something amazing that they do here that they should just do everywhere, in all cinemas at all times. If you have your phone out in a screening, people around the edges will just shine like the world's brightest green laser on you, or red laser, and everyone can see it in the crowd. You just see it blip up on you, and people immediately put their phones away. It's incredible. That feels like witchcraft and wizardry to me. I can't quite believe it. Truly, I think if it happened to me, if I got green lasered at Venice Film Festival, I would be in bits. So as for plans for the rest of the day, I think I need to get myself inside and showered because I'm way too sweaty right now. And then we're gonna have a chill one. Get some pizza in, I think. Have an early night because tomorrow morning it's Almodovar time, baby. It is day 6, I think, to be honest. I'm losing track of the days. 6:15, baby. Midway getting changed. Look a bit like Wet Jesus. Self-proclaimed Wet Jesus. Never a good way to go. It's Pedro Day, baby. Fuck, he's a new Pedro Almodovar. We're gonna get in a boat and we're gonna go watch Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore, hopefully deliver some delicious English language Pedro Almodovar. It's gonna be great. And then we're gonna watch, I can't remember the next film, but I'll write it here. And then there's one after that as well.
Are you a God man? Are you now? Are you now?
So The Room Next Door, Pedro Almodovar's first feature English language production, stars Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore. Suffice to say, this was probably one of my most anticipated of the festival because if you know me at all, if you follow the channel for a while, you should know by now that Tilda Swinton is just number one. It does kill me to tell you guys that this was a bit of a disappointment for me. I did not love this as much as I really wanted to. I don't want to live in a world where Pedro Almodovar making a film with Julianne Moore and Tilda Swinton isn't the best of the festival. And yet here I find myself. I'm going to be honest, this is probably my least favourite Almodovar film I've seen because it also feels like the most clunky Almodovar film, right? It feels like all of his usual melodramatic, colourful Pedro Almodovar-isms are here and present, so it's not like it's suddenly doing something crazy and that's why it wasn't as good. But it just feels like all of the stuff that usually creates such a rich and textured and over the top but effective dramatic film feels like it's a little bit stilted here, and I'm not sure exactly what it is that's doing it. I don't want to just call it the fact that it's his first English language film. I'm not convinced that that's 100% the reason for what's happened here, although it is a compelling argument. But usually the performances and everything around the characters in the film, the world of the film, really absorbs you into the melodrama. But here it just felt like at a lot of points I was watching people deliver his screenplay, and that was kind of jarring. Any film though does, however, get big bonus props for double casting Tilda Swinton, so that was obviously great to see here. But the second film I caught today, directly after The Room Next Door, was Vermiglio, which is an Italian, French, Belgian production, and it really ended up completely absorbing me into it. I love slower, kind of more meditative films. You guys know this by now. And you pair that with really stunning, moody visuals of the mountain setting, really great character work here, and also surprisingly dotted throughout sense of humor. And you end up with a really compelling, kind of a little bit devastating film. It's about these three sisters who are part of a family that are living in Vermiglio, a kind of mountainside village during the war, World War II. I found the whole thing to be this stupidly absorbing kind of snowball of different characters, really great performances, and a really kind of quiet, but I want to almost say in places quite fun drama. I mean, overall, it's not a fun film. It didn't leave me with a spring in my step jumping through the Italian heat afterwards, but I think it balances a lot of different kind of tones throughout without losing sight of its own kind of slower, more brooding, dramatic narrative. I was a really big fan of it overall. Really, really great stuff, actually. But today's third film, 2073, I've got a 4-hour wait until, so probably going to kill the time with some work. Might go for another wonder, although it's probably sounding very repetitive at this point, but I'm not built for this heat. It's far too hot. Please do forgive stack of pizza boxes that are still here from last night. Side note, I'd, again, add it to the list of truly not shocking things I'm going to say in these videos, but pizza here, just vegan pizza as well, which I'll be honest, I was not expecting to have a particularly great time with in the city here. I was fully expecting marinaras, you know, just dough and tomato sauce. I have no doubt that would have been incredible, but pizza joint around the corner has like 6 vegan pizzas on the menu. My guys, I wasn't ready for that. That's crazy. Have I eaten there every day? Maybe I have. I'm not gonna say. I wore my most flamboyant, sassy shirt today in honor of Pedro, and he let me down. That one hurts. But I did do some venturing after Vermiglio to go and get myself a vegan salad, which was the only vegan option they had on this kind of set of food trucks outside there by the Lido. It was fine, it was nice. Was it worth queuing in the sun, potentially burning my legs for? Probably not, no. Oh, also, a couple more people got lasered today. That's what I'm using as shorthand for got their phone out, and the green laser of death. Doesn't kill them. It's not a green laser of death. That would be wild. Who would we be to stop it if it did happen, you know?
The other cinemas here just look like big giant red boxes. Look at this, big red box. Just like a giant Lego brick.
Sweet baby Jesus, if there is a God, please let us get rained on by those clouds.
Okay, welcome to an alleyway edition, Venice style of Stu's thoughts on a film we just saw, or rather Stu's thoughts on a film we saw last night, 2073. Listen, I was really excited for this one, but I'm a huge fan of the director's previous documentary work, most notably Amy, which I think is just a gorgeous documentary. I love that thing. So I was really excited to see what he would do with this one. The premise sounded interesting. All I knew was that it was like a blending of documentary and narrative feature that looks at kind of a future world and our world and pulls out different things from that. And I will be straight up with you guys. This was probably the worst documentary I've ever seen, and a likely contender for the worst film of the year. I just found this entire thing so obnoxious and, I suppose, patronising and lazy and just everything that I don't want to see in a documentary. It feels so shallow throughout its entire hour-and-a-half runtime, which, by the way, feels much longer than that because of just how repetitive and dull it is. It's a film which feels like it can just take the major headlines of all of the interesting things and topics it wants to talk about, throw them into a big montage, tell you it's bad and that society's gonna collapse, and then throw in this incredibly pointless and lazy and obvious narrative section, which is Samantha Morton in the distant future. Everything it touches on and all the topics it touches on feel like they've been done a disservice, right? I feel like it actually is harmful to its own cause, because politically, I suppose, and like in terms of everything it's talking about, it should be interesting. I agree with everything. I agree with all of the things it raises as issues with current society when it comes to surveillance, when it comes to authoritarian rule in different governments. It looks at tech billionaires, at the Silicon Valley problem, AI issue, all of these things. Yes, dude, you have my attention. I'm on board, but I don't want to be shown this stuff in this way. I think it just sort of pit stops at all of these very obvious and easy spots and then just goes, isn't that bad, we're all screwed, see you later.
A man deep in thought, in his phone. Do 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 do.